Hmm. Good morning, campers. It's Sunday. This is Indiana with cornfields and highways and grass growing. Finally, finally stopped raining. Uh, the banks were about to overflow on the river. Huge banks. Um, I'd have to say 30 yards high on one side and like 100 feet of banks. And hey, morning, dude. Let me see if I can do something here. Um, so it was the banks almost overflowed. It was it was sketchy. And if they had done that, I don't even know what would have happened. How do I put? I'm on my phone. I don't even know how to post a link to allow people to come in. I see, I see people here. What does this say? Invite guests. I had LASIK done. I got uh, I got new eyeballs. And so I can see much better, but I'm still squinting, which, and I push buttons, which brings endless amusement to Tayo when I almost blow up my screen. Uh, yeah, I'm actually pretty good. I'm very mellow. Um, and to be honest with you, oh, by the way, Tile, after talking last House of Woo about Mary, I've been feeling good, dude. There's been, yeah, thanks. I got new visions. So, anyhow, talking about Mary, I've gone through, God, how many priests? It was four priests, one, and then I added in a Jesuit, and an exorcist. And they're all like, yeah, dude, you're not pushing things, you're not rushing things, it's her. And I finally, and actually, so I finally came to the tipping point where like, okay, it's her and it's not a problem for me to say her. And then when I was on the stream of the House of Woo, you go, you're kind of busting my chops, but in the way you do, that's very encouraging and beneficial. I'm like, okay, I just need to, I've just been, thanks for the prayers. I just need to say, okay, this is it. It's kind of like when I was busting bees chops. I'm like, you look like a duck, you sound like a duck, and you're quacking. Maybe you should just deal with the fact that you're a duck. And I'm like, well, now that we've dealt with her, let me deal with me. More so, it's not just that I dealt with her, but it's like gave my opinion of what was already going on. And it's for someone to accept it for themselves. But when you do, it's like having the last rope let loose on a boat when you can set sail. So what does this say? My eyeballs, I've got new eyeballs, but it's like, was this, this isn't highlighting it. I can't read it better. Okay, what's it saying? Yeah, busting your chops for Jesus. We bust each other's chops for in the name of the Lord. Because it's actually been buddies like, dude, really? You already know what you is, deal with it. Like, no. But yes. And it's been good. Like my heart. Because like, yeah, okay, because B was talking about how she has more space in her heart. That's the same thing. Like I have more emotional bandwidth to deal with and enjoy life. And really, for me, it feels more like a spring, like when you have on a farm, those old hand pumps, wells. Usually you just have to work it a little bit and the water flows. And if you just maintain that slow rhythm of the pump, you can have a flow of water. And I am now getting back into that. And it just feels good. So I'm feeling good. And actually it feels outstanding. It's funny, for so many years, Zep, what's happening, dude? Let me take it. So for so many years, I had gone blocked in my heart. I mean, years. And I knew, don't quit, don't surrender, don't give in to stupid, walk it out. And it was just me dealing with more forgiveness. And I think when I went to Wisconsin to the Marian Shrine, the hurts that I have received in life, it was such a struggle to get there. And I mean, a real effort. I'm like, fine, I know how to do this. I really am. I'm putting it away. And I think it's just, we know when we're being honest with ourselves and when we're really doing it. And I think that's when it really counts with God. Doesn't mean you have to go to somewhere far to forgive. But I think the actions were indicators of how serious I was. So maybe God and myself. So let's see what's going on here. At some point, I would love to part two to the Megan and around. Oh, no, yeah, Megan, I've been praying for you. Happy for you too. And with the Brett present but alert. Yeah, with Brett. I would love that conversation. Good morning, William. Zaps, dude. So I'm doing well. It's funny, what I'm realizing is, for me, I've decided, it's gonna sound so basic, just to seek the good. I know there's the true, the beautiful, and the good, and you don't really separate them out, but I like beauty and I like truth, but truth without compassion is brutality, and compassion without truth or strength is weakness. And I got that one kind of figured out. I'm not an expert, but I think I understand it. And then beauty in itself, I've never had a problem with, especially with nature. Like, my favorite thing about walking out in the woods is there's a river down me when it's not overflowing. On a summer day, about mid-afternoon, it will reflect off the river and it will underlight the trees. So that if you pay attention, you can see the leaves almost look like they have light within them flowing. And if that ain't a cool moment, I don't know what is. So that one affects me a lot. But I think just seeking the good for me now in conversation and around people, for me, it's getting really not complicated. Like, if someone's cool, that sounds absolutely loony. Oh, wait, I can't read it. Oh, lush. Sorry. It's me eyeballs. Let me see. This one is fuzzy. This one's better. I have a right eye dominance, but it's a little fuzzy close up. So when I I'm hilarious when I just say what I think I'm reading because I get it really wrong and then just roll with it. But yeah, there it is. I'm just Lord. So yeah, just seeking the good. It's funny this morning I was waking up and it's the in between waking and asleep, which is a pretty cool place. And I was having a conversation in my head about just random thoughts. And I'm like, one was more like dreamlike, and I don't know if there was conflict in it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm seeking the good. And the moment said that in my mind, I felt a loving spirit of God show up. I'm like, oh, okay, seek the good. Wow, rocket science, solving your problems. How do you find God? Seek the good, at least for me today. So, in a good mood, and in an unreasonably good mood, I am, I am living in that. I am that living well of water in me. Not I am it, but I feel like I am it in that He is in me doing it, and so I am it. Yeah, why not? My gibberish. It's my show. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I didn't see you for a long time. Are you there, Scott? Are you in yet? Scott, are you? How do I do? Oh, add to stage. Gee, I'm a rocket scientist. Hi, dude.
Hey,
How's it going? Good morning.
all right. I've been I've been a derelict of my duties while we're on a weekend trip up to the mountains.
Good.
Just came
We
from
approve.
a visit with my wife's aunt.
Okay,
I'll be leaving here in a little bit.
nice. Well, is it is it far away or close by?
Close by to what? Where I live?
Yeah.
It's a few hours.
Okay.
So we're up
Nothing.
in the Smokies.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna head out today and meet up with my mother-in-law,
Right.
who's on the other side of the state.
Yeah. Nice. So it's on your mind or heart? How you doing?
Doing okay. I feel bad because I haven't been able to I haven't been able to wake up to do the morning shows. I was on
Hey,
the
you're doing
docket
it
for this
now.
morning.
You're right.
Yeah, it just puts a strain on everybody. I'm not holding up the
Sure.
end of the bargain.
Right. I liked what you and Chris were talking about.
Yeah,
It was, yeah, I wanted to jump on, but really it didn't feel like you guys were having a good conversation, a very good, reasonable conversation. And I think I assume everyone knows my position on a lot of the stuff, which is reasonable. But one thing I've, as a healing guy, I absolutely love medicine. I absolutely love it. But I'm also very cool with prayer in conjunction with it and spiritual counseling, which I think good spiritual counseling is a rare commodity. And what I mean by that
hmm,
is stop smoking weed, um, clean up your room. It's almost like the 12 steps in the big book for Alcoholics Anonymous. Really solid in just fun. It's just, even if you take the God part out, if you just do a lot of the steps, you're gonna take care of the crazy, you know?
yeah. I just my big thing is that I I genuinely believe that God's at the highest and he's capable of anything, right?
Yes.
And I I also know that the medical profession doesn't do things perfect. And I would
Mm-hmm.
even make the claim that a lot of us think that they fail in many aspects. And
Mm-hmm.
so I understand the struggle with trying to keep God at the top, right? While being grounded enough to know that some things require um, additional assistance, in
Yeah.
order to get through the things. Um, I guess this kind of relates to the miracle talks that I've been able to participate in with Brett. Is what do we call a miracle, and
Mm-hmm.
are these things still happening? Um, you know, but I do also see a neglect, and I think this is what many of us around here are talking about with the fact that we're supplementing some of our spiritual healing in spaces
Yeah.
like this as opposed to the church. So the church is also failing. So, there seems to be where do you put where do you set your feet? Where do you drop your
Mm-hmm.
anchor to say
Yeah.
this is where I'm going to be? And so, yeah, I think trying to fold that all and be in right perspective, I think is in many ways different for everybody, but also the same for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. With when I was listening to you guys, so here's the deal. Like I'm gonna have some fun right here, right now. Like
Okay.
I sometimes, and I want to be gentle and honest at the same time with the corner and just people, because it's not about the corner, it's really about people in general.
Amen.
Sometimes I feel witchcraft, and witchcraft is not just pentagrams and upside down crosses and, hailing Satan. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I mean, that's a thing too. But what I feel sometimes, not often, but sometimes, there are spirits of mental illness that are brought on by rebellion. And it's by rebellious thoughts against God. God doesn't exist. What else is there? That right there opens the door for just all kinds of crazy thoughts to come in. And some of them, not all, are from spirits. You've got, you have 9 levels. I don't remember them all. Thrones, dominions, principalities,
You mean for
angels
the
are,
demons? I actually
yeah,
saw that. Yeah, I was looking for names of demons and they had all these different hierarchical kind of
yeah,
places for these demons. Okay. All right. I'm
yeah.
tracking.
So what we're dealing with, not always, but sometimes, physically and mentally, are simply demons. It's that simple. And it's what happens in some mental illness, not all. It's simply realizing listening to a demon and saying no to it. And usually saying no to it is understanding, getting good biblical understanding of your relationship with God, the relationship, the hierarchy, the structure, the love. And once you get that in your mind, a lot of times, and I've seen this in my friends in real life, they go, "Oh, I that's not me." And I'm like, "No, it's not." And they're like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "You just tell it no." And then you declare the truth over yourself. And my friend who was close to being schizophrenic, uh, because he had voices, like, and I'd say, "Well, what do these voices tell you?" They're like, "God hates me and that I am a liar, not to be trusted." I'm like, "Okay, what?"
Yeah.
There, and what it's
That's the
difficult.
accuser. That's not God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had that one time with my buddy. Once he figured it out, dude, he didn't need me or anybody. He would hear the voice, the thought. He'd go, "That's a lie. I'm not listening. What's the opposite of that? Okay, that I'm loved and and then he really got happy. Modern medicine would wig out at,
Yeah.
and I think that's why they are losing.
Not just modern medicine. I think people that have experienced the downsides
Yeah.
of what happens when somebody doesn't have the discipline.
Uh-huh.
Because how often I mean, look, I'm guilty of it myself. That little thought that says, you deserve this, right? You've done
Oh,
some good
yeah.
work. Let's go ahead and indulge the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes the consequence. So I think there's been a lot of people that have been negatively impacted by not being able to keep the discipline, to keep moving forward in that vein. And so it begs the question, is it appropriate then for, especially for those that have proven time and time again that they can't, right? Shouldn't they be on the medicine? And
Yeah.
you see too that oftentimes their lives are better because, and I'm
Yeah.
going to use air quotes better because
Yeah.
just the fact of saying better is, kind of a judgment of, you got to have a value structure of what is better. You could
Right.
say that numbing the thing maybe keeps you further away from God, but then your relationships in the world are better. You know, I don't I don't know. And that's, I think, the two sides of the conversation are kind of based around that.
Hmm. Well, see, the
Especially
best
as something
example.
like schizophrenia
Oh yeah, no,
where
listen, dude, I'm
we
like,
have some real evidence that shows that people, when they take their medication, they they have
mhm.
measurable outcomes that are better.
Yeah, oh, yeah, and I'm cool with that. I think I'm just having an honest conversation now with you,
Sure, sure.
and it's like, okay, some of it uh, is demonic. And if I just leave it at that, going, listen, you go, shrinks, go be your shrink, do your thing. Like, the Bible says, better a live dog than a dead lion, meaning, dude, you keep someone alive, but you do whatever, by whatever means necessary, you keep them alive. And then as they are alive, just go through a process of exorcism, which I like how PVK put it. It goes, exorcism really is nothing but getting someone into a stable walk with God, a nice, boring, stable walk with God. So do the meds, see a shrink, but I'd rather it be a shrink who understands there's a spirit world and sometimes there are critters that talk. And it takes a while to figure out if it's a critter, but
Does
being
that
on the
work with
med,
somebody who doesn't believe that, though? I'm just posing the
oh,
question, not
no, no,
to
no.
present it
I
as a
have an
reason.
answer for you on that. Actually,
Mm.
the answer is yes, it does, especially if it's a spirit. But the exorcist will say, listen, I can get rid of this thing, but this thing's going to boomerang back on you 7 times worse if
Well,
you don't.
okay, so yeah, that kind of answers it then, because if the
Okay.
person doesn't believe it and they're exorcised of the demons, right,
Right.
they're just likely going to just invite the thing back in,
Oh,
right?
dude.
And
Yeah.
so in that scenario, isn't it I could see somebody making the argument that it's better to just medicate that person.
Well, okay. So this is all right. I'll give you this. I'm going to really
I'm
give you
just
my
trying to give
opinions.
grace to the other
No,
side of the argument because they're not here,
I
right?
will agree. Okay. So I agree with it. Sometimes I think it is just better to medicate them Because if you're not willing to deal with it spiritually, dude, you're plugging the leak one way, you're keeping them alive. And then what I have seen in time, if you have loving people around people who are mentally ill, you can love them out of some things. So
Hmm.
it's not just the name of Jesus. It is actually, I think, genuine love, because that in itself is an aspect of Jesus. You know, you're,
So
and
my retort to that would be something like, but doesn't love have to be accepted too? So
actually, I think you can, yeah,
I'm thinking of somebody like, I don't know, I'm addicted to meth and
yeah,
I'm surrounded by
okay,
people who love me and keep giving
yeah,
me the things, but
yeah,
it's not necessarily enough because I haven't accepted that love to
okay,
move forward.
okay, I agree
Again,
with
not to
you.
critique you. I'm just, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, 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 no,
I'm
no,
just,
no. Dude, I'm presenting such a weak everything right now because I'm just letting it out. I totally agree with you. I
no,
got a friend
I
named,
don't think you're weak at all. I think what
yeah,
I quite the contrary. I think what you're presenting is your faith and how strong it is in the power of the
right.
creator of all of heaven and earth, right?
So
Yeah, I don't think it's weak.
okay,
I
okay.
just yeah, yeah. I'm just
I
trying
got,
to, like I said, show some grace to the other side of the argument
yeah, oh,
that's
sure. I like
present
that.
here. Yeah.
Um, so I got two cases, Bartley and actually Bartley's okay. I can use his name because it's public. Bartley was a crack addict for 20 years.
Hmm.
And he was at the Muncie mission and he goes, God, if you're real, would you take this craving for crack cocaine away from me? Whoosh. Like heartbeat, all of it gone. And that was the radical transformation. Like that, he's my buddy. So I know it works. Now, on the flip side, there are two people that I will not use their names. Both of them have bipolar disorder, and they're at my church. One's a mom, one's a son. The mom had a season of prayer and she got rid of it. These are her words. And, I believe her. Now, her son is getting all tore up. And we recently talked, and he goes, I think I experienced hell. But now that I'm on my meds, I feel good and I feel like I'm talking with God. And I just go, great, fantastic. Don't care how you get there, as long as you're okay. I don't care. I seriously have an aggressive attitude towards it's either prayer or ibuprofen. I don't care. Glory to God in both of them.
I love how you did that. Ibuprofen. You brought it down a notch. Well done.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. No,
It's
and to just to put my cards on the table, I think it's somewhere in between as well. The way I
mhm,
described my conversation with Chris to my aunt and uncle before they left was like these polar kind of viewpoints where
mm, yeah,
we put the medical profession because they have evidence at the
yeah,
highest, as
right.
opposed to the ethereal, where,
Mhm,
it takes a degree of acceptance to see the beauty and the miracle in all that is life, right? And
mhm,
just go, there's no way this could happen by accident. And that's the only way. So you got your
mhm.
extreme over here that you can only be truly saved through the power of God's grace, which
Yeah,
again, I'm not saying isn't true, but to say that that's the only way God works in the world, I think is somehow boxing him in. But then on the other extreme, saying, we have evidence and this is the only way, and we got to put you on all these meds that we
yeah,
know oftentimes don't bring about the results that are wanted for by both the participant and the family members and society at large, right?
Hmm.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have the problems that we had if it was just that simple.
Yeah. Just to
I
be
think it's somewhere in the middle. I think it's
right.
some kind of weaving of the two that make it.
Okay, there it is. I think I like that. I think that is answer. It's not either or, it's actually both and.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Stop smoking weed and here's a little Prozac or whatever, and now
But
we need to
maybe
go
only
talk.
for a season too. Like
Yes.
was on Wellbutrin once in my life after my mom had passed.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll tell you, I hated the idea of being tied down to a medicine. Every
Yeah.
month I gotta go to the thing. They only give me 1 month's worth, so I'm like
Right.
tied down to this pharmacist and follow-up appointments with the doctors and all this and that. Is there a way that I can kind of help my mind? What did they call it? They called it something like cognitive depression or something, where I get
Yeah.
into
Okay.
these loops in my brain and
Yeah.
I go, what the heck's the hope? It's all broken and screwed up anyway. Let's just you it all down, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
so I used the medicine for a little while, and I have a buddy that kind of did the same thing. Um, but you get to a point and you kind of regain your footing, and you learn ways to look
Yeah.
at the world, right?
Right.
That allowed me to then come off the stuff.
Yes.
So, and that's kind of usually my argument, is because too many times in my life I've seen people use
Hmm.
those medicines
Yeah.
as a crutch, and then they just want more medicines, and then the medicines stop working and they want more medicines, and then
Hmm.
the next thing you know, they're on 15 different pills, you
Yeah.
know. I'm over exaggerating to prove the point, and then that in of itself causes a whole new slew of problems, right?
Yeah.
Either they're
Yeah.
sleeping all day, or they're irritable, and something like Prozac. The Prozac's known for
Hmm.
causing mood swings, so now you're blowing up the people that love you genuinely because you're on this thing. So, and SSRIs in of themselves are pretty pretty potent medications.
Right.
They don't just come with, oh, it's all better. So
So let me throw something at you. I'll give you
yeah.
two, maybe three examples. One time I met a girl I was helping out at a drug support group. Um, and she was talking about how she would have, I forget what it was. It was in a true, like it was either in a wrong thought or just, it was like headaches, thoughts, and stuff like that. And she was telling me stuff. I'm like, man, this sounds like a demon. And this is when I was young in God. Like I was really tied in with God, like it was flowing hard in me, like power, but young in understanding. So I'm like, I could pray for you. And that, it was kind of like I recognized it before she did. That was the problem. And I'm like, hey, can I pray for you? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, in the name of Jesus. And I spoke to this condition and I told it to leave. I didn't ask for if she wanted it gone. I didn't do any kind of groundwork. I just said, you get out and you leave her now. And it was like she got jolted. And I go, did it just leave? And she goes, yeah. And then she goes, what'd you do to me? And that's where I felt bad. That ever since then, I've never done that. I'll ask for permission and I'll talk to him because she didn't understand the spiritual realm at all. And she got helped by God, but that was a teaching moment for me. We're like, okay, that you got to make sure that they want God and that that's so it doesn't get 7 times as worse. And it wasn't some sort of profound schizophrenia or something. It was uh, an obtrusive thought, not making light of it. Because because what we're talking about is meds and figure out when something's a demon. And is, like getting to like my buddy who was close to being schizophrenic, like he had voices talking. And there's a fellow, Neil T. Anderson, who is a former astronaut, went alcoholic, got saved, and then dealt with the issues of alcoholism and other oppressive thoughts and feelings. And he came up with a way of dealing with helping people, Christians in particular, to deal with these things. Basically, he would help people recognize when a thought pattern wasn't their own, especially when it dealt with God. And I don't know if I'm doing justice, but basically his punchline was, you just say, these are not my thoughts. These are the thoughts of an enemy. And you really define them well, and you categorize them as an enemy, and then you find the opposite or the truth given in scripture, the opposite of the accusation. Apply it to yourself in an affirmation, in almost like a propositional way, like, okay, the Satan says, I am not the son of God. That means I am. I am a son of God. I don't go by feelings, I go by faith. And he's had a lot of success, and I've seen it work. But I'm also not opposed to using drugs to get people in altered states of consciousness that are bettered than where they're at now, even if it is a demon. Because even if it is a demon, you can't cast a demon out with a drug, but you can maybe slow your heart rate down or just get you to a place where you're not as frenetic and jumpy, where you're willing to talk about it and willing to deal with the issues that's going on that are spiritual. I don't know if I just laid out my rough idea of what you guys were talking about or has been going on since this lady's interview. I didn't watch it yet. The lady who was pregnant and had postpartum depression.
Well,
So
so
that's,
that was part of their issue when I watched the thing last night, was that they didn't mention postpartum depression.
oh,
Um,
yeah, that was postpartum
yeah.
depression. Like, yeah, yeah,
I mean,
maybe at least.
yeah. I mean, I just I I found the story extraordinarily moving. Um, I mean,
I gotta watch.
there was some, you gotta go.
No, I gotta watch that. I gotta
Okay.
watch that video because it sounded really cool.
I mean, I cried in the thing,
Mhm.
listening to her story. I could relate to it very, in a very raw sense of coming to coming to this understanding of, well, I'll use the words that she said, the insignificantness of our lives. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, just play the mental exercise
yeah,
of the number of people that have ever been alive on this
yeah,
planet throughout all of human history. And we know a handful of names,
yeah. That's true.
a
Gotcha.
handful of names
Right, right.
in comparison to I mean, currently there's what, 9 billion people on the planet at this very moment.
Yeah,
But, and and being okay with that. In a real sense, being walked through with, because the one of the most endearing things about this whole thing is that she didn't come to this through the lens of herself. She
Hmm.
came through this through the lens of her love for her son,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And because
Yeah.
that's how she was thinking. She was thinking about her son and the the in the grand scheme of the entire human project,
Hmm.
the likelihood of how insignificant the life of his son was going to be.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's not to say that they're not going to be insignificant. But what it made me think of was, you know, 3 generations from now, my
Yeah.
name will likely never be uttered again. The
Right.
memory of me, even, is going to
Yeah.
be gone. My
Yeah.
mother, whom I love deeply, my son has never met her,
Hmm.
right? So by the time
Yeah.
his kids are around,
Yeah.
even the memory of my mother will be gone,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So, and wrestling with that, and then coming to a new place and a new relationship with the father through that, that's, and I wonder, I mean, look, I'm not laying claim to whether or not it's right or wrong, but I genuinely wonder if she took something to mask that. Would she have
What?
been able to mask it if she took
I didn't
something
hear
from
you.
her?
That's all.
Yeah, did you hear it now? Mask?
No, no, no. That was just me. There's music in the background. Sorry. But what was
Okay,
that?
no worries. Yeah, if she took an antidepressant or something, which, by the way, one of the things that aren't factoring in is the fact that she was, if she's breastfeeding, that limits some of the
Oh,
drugs
yeah.
that you can
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
But if she took something, to mask some of that suffering, because one of the things
Yeah.
that was talked about last night is the idea that, we must, under all circumstances, relieve people's suffering. So I'm wondering if she would have been able to come to that place of new revelation
Yeah.
if she hadn't gone through the suffering. And if we
Okay.
mask the suffering, are we
Right.
masking our potentiality for what's on the other side as we finally pass through the refining furnace?
Okay.
I
I'm
just,
agree
you
with
know
you.
what I mean?
I'm gonna.
My sense
I
is that we can't do that.
I agree with you totally on this one, or at least in that position. Okay, this is something I don't usually share. It's not bad, but for the past 15 years, spiritually, I got my rear end whooped hard. I almost died because of a blood infection from a cavity. Uh, got tinnitus, which was insanely painful. I told God either he heal me or kill me, and he didn't do either. He, but he got the love level so high, I could keep my chin above the pain.
Mm,
Years, I'm talking years. What I learned is that I have to watch my thoughts all the time. And it's getting better, but I can recognize now when my thoughts are wrong. And then that was just the tinnitus because it's helped me really navigate my thoughts. Then secondly, I had unforgiveness in my heart. I let in a demon of depression. And I mean a real demon, real depression. And there were no meds involved and this is for 2.5 years. This thing had a grip on my heart hard and it was enjoying every moment. Then I learned about forgiveness. And then I went through a process of forgiving and recognizing in my heart what my heart is doing at any given moment, even now. Like for every conversation I have, I can feel my heart when it's going off base or on base. Now, the flip side to all the pain and the negativity is now I can watch my thoughts and keep them on track in a loving way. If I need to disagree, I know how to disagree properly. And if it's not my business, when to run away. And in my heart, in the secret part of my heart, I judge myself all the time. I allow God to judge me all the time. And now when I feel the slightest twinge of being wrong, I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Okay, I'm sorry. And I get back on track pretty fast and it feels great. As much as it was painful and it took years, it was worth it. Because otherwise I would not be the man I am right now.
That's
And
similar to my experience of life as well. Is some of my
you take, and it's like,
I
here's the
am the
thing.
man I am today because of what I suffered through.
Yep. Yeah.
Quite
I,
frankly, like
yeah,
the
I don't like saying
suffering,
this.
it was the instrument that gave me endurance and resilience
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and and a sense of who I am and my insignificance in this world without the grace of God moving through me.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason why I am anything is because of the power of Jesus Christ in my life.
Right.
And I could never come to that point until I addressed the fact of how insignificant I am.
Huh.
And the suffering is what brought about that realization and the okayness with it,
The okayness with what?
being
Just,
insignificant.
oh, okay. If I may, I'm not
Sure.
opposed. I'm not opposed. I understand where you're coming from.
Hmm.
What I found out with God is he, he finds everyone infinitely significant.
God does, yes.
Yes.
But in
Yeah.
terms of this world, in terms of my
Oh,
legacy, in
oh,
terms of my, I am never
oh,
going
yeah,
to
yeah,
be a
yeah.
I'm never going to be a Gutenberg.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
dude, listen, if you're
I'm not going to
significant
be a
in,
Genghis Khan. I'm not going to,
oh,
you know
okay.
what? These are the
Yeah,
handful of names that history has
yeah,
preserved
yeah,
for us
okay,
into this age. I'm never going to
yeah,
be that. And that's okay. That's okay.
yeah, okay. No, no, I get you. Yeah, well, that actually, I think, deals with pride, wanting to be someone, you know?
Hmm.
So,
And this,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, so this this has been a good conversation in that I usually don't tell people, yeah, your cross, you're going to have a cross. And it's going to hurt and it's going to take a while. And, but in the end, you'll be so much better for it. Because, and getting back to the meds thing, like I think, like I'm not opposed to meds. It's just figuring it out, figuring how, I think spiritual conditions are discerned over time. Okay, I'll give you an example. In the Bible, the Old Testament or in the New Testament, all the pagan folk brought their demonically possessed people to Jesus, and they didn't have a problem with understanding or recognizing when something was spiritual. That for the most part, they're like, oh, yeah, the kid's got a demon. They could have been Baal worshipers for all we know. Like multitudes came to Jesus. Not all of them were Jewish. And even the Jewish ones knew when people had demons. It wasn't difficult for them to figure it out. I wonder if it's a skill set that has been lost that we're just recognizing now again. I feel like I can
I
recognize it
think
more
so.
so. Okay.
I think
And
that's what we've done. We've materialized the world and we've siloed off things. And
mhm.
and like we've and I think this is one of the failures of the church in a way, because a lot of the institutions like medicine, was handled in the church,
Yeah,
and then we passed
right,
that off. Education
right,
was maybe not totally done by the church, but it was, that's where people went to learn, right?
yeah.
And then you started the institution of the school and it being a separate thing, and then that gets pushed away. I mean, yeah. So we've siloed it off and we've said that it's only supposed to be in this corner. But in also doing that, we downgraded it, right? So the
Hmm.
spiritual is less than the
The
medical.
material. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and we use words like evidence-based
Hmm.
to point and say, look, this is better. But then when that same philosophy is used to say that people living in the church do better, then we question it. Then we say, oh no,
Oh,
no, no, no. Let's
yeah.
pick through this thing with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
But all the other evidence, we'll just take it as gospel, even
Right.
though you could probably do that with just about any kind of evidence.
Hmm. Well, oh, yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
it's just in my mind, it's an act of putting something other than God at the top.
So, all right. So let me just put it out there. I think a lot more of this stuff is spiritual. Oh, well, because, okay, the thing is, with the people, my buddy who was dealing with schizophrenia and whatnot, uh, he was I think it was this voice was telling him he blasphemed God and stuff like that. And I'm like, why would, what about mental illness wants to attack God? Why would anything, it just didn't, I'm not expressing it correctly, but it's almost like when something is attacking God or attacking you in using God, or it hates the name of Jesus. Like, what do you think about Jesus? Oh, I hate him. Like, why? Like, what? I'll start seeing indicators, and it's very subjective, to be honest with you, when you're dealing with stuff like this. For me, it's proximity, like I'll actually sense stuff, which, you know, I can't prove, but I think my rate of consistency is pretty high. And I think it's been recognized. And, and I think it can be taught and learned. I think it's not just a gift, like it's dropped on you. I think it can be developed. I think,
Hmm.
I
Oh,
think
that's
it's,
interesting.
oh yeah,
Because
absolutely.
at first I kind of nodded to say yes, it can't be teached and learned, but then when you said it's not dropped on you, I
Well,
immediately thought about Pentecost and how it
wait,
was
let me
just
take that back.
dropped right on
The,
everybody all at
well,
once.
yeah, let me rephrase that. Let me reframe that or whatever. Yeah, it is given to you by God. It is dropped on you. But I think it's also, uh, it's not like a Spider-Man's bitten by a radioactive spider, but actually it is. It's like you're hit by the cross.
Yeah.
So, but I think also if you want it, let's say you're a Christian, you're like, well, I would like to know this, and I'd like to understand it. That in itself is probably God drawing you to it. And then,
So it seems to me like it's the same as the other. It's a both and.
yeah, pretty much, pretty
It's an
much.
already but not yet.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the
okay,
constant, like, we're still running towards the goal, but we have a foundation and a trust and a belief
yeah.
that we can stand on. But we're not there yet.
If I could share something, because this is good part in the stream, because there's just me, you, and someone else. Like this, when I went up to this, like I'm feeling good right now. I haven't felt this way in years. Uh, I got betrayed by a church about 3 years ago. I mean, but betrayed by staff and people in the ministry. because I was wronged and I was waiting for it to go through some sort of like a internal judicial process. And it totally got swept under the rug because I was wanting to defend myself. And it, I got, and nothing happened. And I got really bitter and unforgiving. And it hurt. And so for years that shut me down until I went to this place just recently where I was testing something between me and God, this interaction between me and Mary, because it was really anyhow slow process. But part of the process there is when I'm like, I'm at this. I haven't been in a Catholic church of my own free will in years. I'm not Catholic, but I like them, and I was avoiding them for a while. And when I walked in there, I go in my heart, I'm like, okay, I now really forgive. I'm not. If I, it's okay. The past is the past, and I'm letting it go. And since then, it's made a huge difference in my heart. And then I had an encounter with God where He actually dumped me on the ground. Like, I won't go into details, but basically, I was saying, I'm not gonna kneel for anybody except you, Jesus. And then He showed up like a 2-ton waterfall, just dropping on me, and some some things between me and God got defined even better. And the spiritual pain I had gone through was worth it. And now I have a better understanding of forgiveness. And without the negative, the cross, I wouldn't be here now. And yeah, it's a weird thing to
Yeah.
say you're gonna have. I think you said it like that. Your growth came when you in your hardest times. I'm like, yeah, I hate it. I do. I'm like, I'd rather not, but
And I'll tell you what, the idea that I got to continue to do it, the idea that I got to continue to pick up the cross and bear it.
hmm hmm
This is the idea that we're supposed to ease our own suffering. Maybe
hmm
that's a good way to put it. Ease
yeah.
it by having a few drinks after work, or ease it by
hmm
lashing out, or
hmm
ease it by taking something that I know is going to numb both the highs and the lows,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Instead of accepting it joyfully, knowing that on the other end
hmm
of this valley of the shadow of death will be a mountaintop and a summit that's
yeah.
going to have one of the most beautiful sights,
Yeah.
right? Not just in me, but those around me and for the Father above who's working in me.
I got to
That's,
make a confession then. I think I'd rather people not do meds, but I'm not because I am that healing dude. Like evangelistic healing, because then they were kind of criticizing, I think, saying they're against meds. I'm like, yes, I'm against meds, but I will not forbid you from it, and nor will I demean you or I won't put you down for it. But I'd rather you struggle through as much as you can without it.
well, the only reason why I probably can't go to that measure is that
Yeah,
not, I think about my life at being at 46
yeah.
and only just now coming to this realization.
hmm
I think that while we all are walking towards Jesus, we're all walking on different pathways. We're at
Yeah,
different
that's
spots in the
true.
mountain, and if God has it in them to not bear that weight yet, if He's going to
Okay.
extend His grace to that person to not have to bear that cross, that is not
Yes.
between me and, you know what I mean? That's between them and
Yeah.
God. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
there are tools available.
Yeah.
But what I would maybe offer is something like keeping in mind that they are tools. They are
Yeah.
not the thing.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
simply there to help. Just we'll bring the example down way low, like you did with the ibuprofen earlier.
Hmm.
I would not expect somebody with a broken foot or a sprained foot to not use a crutch,
Right. Right.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
But that
Gotcha.
crutch should only, in my mind, to continue the analogy, the crutch is only used for a period of time, right?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
then again, I want to caveat that as well because there are things like schizophrenia,
Yeah.
right? Where,
Yeah.
you know, the evidence is pretty clear that people do better when they're on the medicine. So I don't know. But again, I would
Hmm.
kind of leave that up to, God and the way he's working and not just the life of the individual that's suffering through that illness,
Right.
but
Yeah.
also the family that is surrounded by them and, you know, all the ways in which he works in our very interconnected lives.
Hmm.
So that would just be where I'm still probably somewhere in the middle
I
of
think I
of
agree with
these
you
things.
totally. I agree with that totally. And I realize what I just said before you talked,
Mm,
I was actually talking about me. I just realized like, oh, dude, I'm just talking about me. That's it.
okay.
I'm like,
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm the guy who, okay, and that way it works. All right, this is a joke, but actually it's not. If you want to do a quick test of mental illness, whether it's demonic or not, get something holy around them. Because there's different, like holy water or just things that are
My
blessed.
Bible's down in my book bag. It's
Okay.
downstairs.
And usually I've heard exorcists do this. They'll bless an object or bless water, and they'll see how the person reacts. Now there are different levels of demonic activity, but sometimes you'll like just hit them with some holy water and they're like, oh, like, they're infected pretty bad. Other stuff is it's either an indicator that it's a really tough demon and it's not going to flinch, or other times you can just kind of test stuff by saying, can you say the name Jesus? Or, what do you think about this cross? And
Have you
it's,
ever thought about doing like I don't know who does exorcisms? Catholics do exorcisms. Do
yeah,
they have exorcisms in other faith traditions where you could actually do some schooling, so to
yeah,
speak?
the
I mean,
Catholics for sure.
or get a mentor that
Yeah.
has done this?
I'll be
Because,
honest, it's bad out here. Like,
well, yeah, but I mean, like to garner your tool set, right?
yeah,
And if this is the pathway that you feel like you're being led to, like
yeah.
how do you garner the tools in order
I
to do
steal
it?
from, I,
Because it is a power, right? And with all power comes great responsibility, and with responsibility comes the proper use of said
yeah,
powerful tools. You know what I
right.
mean?
Oh,
Being
yeah,
out there, I'm thinking of the analogy of the hammer, everything's a nail, so to speak.
right.
Like,
You got that right.
so,
Yeah,
what if you did something to hone your ability to be the best hammerer ever?
right.
The analogy
What I,
fell apart at the end,
no,
but
no, no, no. Actually,
maybe
think
instead
of
of
it.
being a hammerer, you become a carpenter. So then
That's
you
exactly
use
it.
all the tools. Yes.
That's, there you go. So if you think of it, I think of it as like being a doctor with a scalpel.
Hmm.
Um, the, the deeper you're cutting, well, the moment you have a scalpel in your hand, you have responsibility. First is,
Hmm.
so if a doctor or a carpenter, because both of them, that both works. I think mentorship is big. But I also think, like, for everything I've learned, most of it, from what I'm seeing, it comes from the Catholic faith. They have it really well parsed out, just worked out. It's all, if you read your Bible or just go by the Bible, you can get through quite a bit. Because he asked the question, how do you learn this stuff? It
Well,
seems
now
like it,
what I was suggesting is there a pathway for you to sharpen iron with iron, so to speak?
right.
Because a
I,
lot of this, it seems to me, is self-taught for you.
yeah, yeah.
And when I say self-taught, I'm not trying to eliminate
No,
the spirit's work in your life,
I
right?
got you. Yeah.
But is there a way where, because in many ways this practice is falling to the wayside. And
Do you
so,
think so?
as I've learned in my friends in the Orthodox tradition, there's a
Yeah,
whole bunch of the tradition that I have been, uh, it's been absent in
yeah.
my understanding of what Christianity is in its fullness. And
Hmm.
so, what I'm maybe saying is, I get the sense that a lot of, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah,
a lot of your understanding of kind of the demon and the possession and the work of the spiritual realm in our lives comes
yeah.
from a Pentecostal viewpoint or a
If that is so to
charismatic
say,
viewpoint.
well, but see what it is I was possessed a little bit. I mean, dude, I was New Age, I was Buddhists, and I had spirits, I had demons. I was not, okay, so I was not possessed like I was blanking out. That's full possession. You have, and that's like a hand in a glove, taking over that's,
Okay. Yeah.
you're in the back of the bus. And then there is oppression, which is more like handcuffs on you and someone dragging you around. So it's like being bound, but you're still
Okay.
aware. I was definitely that. And
Oh,
then
okay.
the last one is more like mosquitoes around you or afflicting things around you. You're okay. It's just, you don't have the mosquito netting you need. So you're getting messed
Okay.
with. So those are the three levels. Um, but what was your question? Because I got lost in the weeds on that.
So it's what if, much like me being introduced to some of the liturgies in some of these high churches, and how it's
Yeah,
it's expanded my view of an infinite God. Is there a
yeah.
way for you to maybe tap into the Catholic tradition of how they work these things to refine your
Hmm.
what seems to me the path you feel God has placed you on in this world,
Hmm.
right? So
I've
that you can have a more fuller understanding of
Yeah.
how one would go about being uh,
I
a
think
caster outer of demons.
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, a lot of it has been on the job training, experiential
I
with
know.
me making, well, it's me making mistakes, getting in trouble, and then having to get helped. The
Mm,
reason I know so much about this stuff is because I was it. I was the
okay.
guy, I was the one getting help. I'm the one like, oh, hey guys, this stuff works. And so a lot of it is by my errors getting corrected and my me being oppressed, like having the things around me. I had things around me a lot, and then I was being dragged around like in handcuffs. And then there are times, this is way before I was saved, there was only one time when this is when I was heavy drug and drinking, where I blacked out. And it wasn't just a alcohol drug blackout, it was more like someone unplugged my consciousness. And for a few hours, I don't know what happened. Now, nothing bad happened. And because I was with my girlfriend at the time, and it happened to both of us, because we both laid down to bed for a second, we blacked out, and then woke up at the same time. We're like, we looked at each other like, what just happened? Like, that was the closest I'd ever say to having someone else drive the bus. But after that, I've come to learn, like, okay, I positioned myself in my activities of drinking and drugs and the spiritual activity to invite these things in. And then I learned to never do that again. And so I've watched a lot of videos on exorcists talking about what it is, what it isn't, case studies. And I've just spent time in what's called inner healing in the Protestant world, which is basically a low-level exorcism stuff, which basically, I think the big book in AA is a real good outline of what happens pre-exorcism and definitely inner healing. And so yeah, it was the more, because I listened to it, the big book is really good Christian formation without Christ. It has good inner healing and getting rid of low-level demons. And then the Catholics, I think, have one of the better modalities or whatever of getting rid of the high-level possessions. And so I've listened to all of them, and I've learned from all of them. That's what I do. I've learned that that's what's worked, and then I just do what's worked with me. Like forgiveness is the number one go-to, and then cut out the crap. It's
That's always helpful. Cut out the crap.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you figure it out, dude. Like, and it's usually pretty blaring. Like whatever it is. I think we all know our shortcomings, and then just, are you willing to deal with your shortcomings? And I'm not talking about the little stuff. I'm talking about it, and it doesn't take a spiritual guru to find them out. Are you angry? Are you fearful? Are you greedy? Are you lustful? Whatever, like, what's that thing that's you have no control over? That's where we're going. And that's where prayer comes in. And that's where the presence of God comes in conjunction with scripture and good teaching. So it's not either or, it's both and.
Already and not yet.
Yeah, already and not yet. And I think it's gonna suck. It's gonna take time. Maybe not an eternity, but it's gonna hurt. It's gonna cost you something. And I usually don't talk like this. I don't know if it would be beneficial if I did. I don't know. I just feel like it's more honest than I've been in a while. But I don't want to discourage people. Like, if I'm talking to a veteran who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, I'm like, yeah, oh, big bag of suck's gonna come. But if it's someone who's just on the trail, just beginning, I'm like, no, don't quit, don't surrender. Eventually you win. They don't need
Agreed.
to look, yeah.
You gotta know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I agree with that totally.
Okay.
But listen, Ron, I appreciate you talking to me, having
Yeah,
the
this
space.
is fun.
I really should be going. I probably should have been
Me
off like
too.
20 minutes ago. All right.
Oh, dude, I hear you. All right,
All right.
Scott.
Thanks, brother.
All right. I'll see you.
Later.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm turning this thing off now. So thanks for tuning in. Grift harder. Give your grift to General Grim Grizz. I get a commission. I get savings throws. That's my commission. Ladies and gentlemen, we're signing off. Have a great Sunday. Goodbye.